lots of laughs. But of course, there'll be no sign of Meghan's family, her father, her brother, and her sister, all having been ruthlessly removed from her faux aristocratic world. And not a hint of Harry's royal family, none of whom talk to their sulky renegade relative anymore.
She spent years attacking the monarchy, yet every business card, every Netflix pitch, and even branded gift baskets still reportedly carried the same mark: Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. That is Meghan Markle's contradiction. Reports suggest she built her empire by painting herself as the victim of a cold palace system, while never letting go of the very titles that gave her power in the first place. And now, according to whispers coming from Westminster and palace hallways, those titles may finally be slipping from her hands.
After the disgraceful disrespect he has shown them since running away from his regal duties. Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, has never met his ginger son-in-law and never set eyes on his grandchildren. King Charles hasn't seen Archie and Lilibet for years and no longer trusts.
The irony is harsh. Meghan has turned the royal brand into her personal moneymaker, and the same crown she used for fame could soon erase her from its history altogether. Sources claim the spark didn't come from Buckingham Palace at first, but from the public itself. What began as a little-known online petition, buried in political forums, quickly grew into something far bigger. Hashtags demanding "strip Meghan of her titles" caught fire across Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube comment sections. The petition itself had no legal power, but perception matters more than paperwork. And perception is what Meghan fears most. The more the story spread, the more it looked like her Duchess identity was hanging by a thread.
The petulant prince who turned on him so much for the Sussex's family Christmas. Also part of the Duke and Duchess's new unimproved deal is a documentary all about Uganda's HIV/AIDS crisis, exuding Harry's white saviour-style worthiness.
And here's the twist. Reports say it wasn't just noise online. The House of Lords allegedly discussed the issue, and though those discussions have no binding power, the symbolism was loud and clear. Meghan's nightmare was no longer limited to gossip channels. It had moved into the halls of Parliament. Insiders say King Charles prefers quiet diplomacy, smiling in public while carefully protecting the monarchy's image in private. But William? That's a different story. Reports suggest he has little patience for Meghan's endless drama, and palace sources claim he sees her not as family, but as a problem.
The short film Massacre Kids, A Rhythm Within doubtless tells an important story. But without wishing to seem heartless, its commercial potential is less than zero. In other news, still with Harry's Africa fixation, after he flounced out of his children's charities.
The Sandringham Agreement had already stopped her from using the HRH styling, yet Meghan allegedly continued slipping it onto products and signatures, as if holding onto a crown she publicly criticized. According to those close to the situation, William sees that as arrogance, a deliberate provocation, and a sign that the monarchy must eventually act. Whether or not petitions have the force of law, the one fact Meghan cannot escape is that William will one day be king. And word is, when that day comes, he plans to cut the rope she's been hanging onto. The question isn't just whether Meghan loses her Duchess title. The real question is whether her entire brand collapses the moment the crown decides she's no longer useful. And according to insiders, that decision may come sooner than she ever imagined.
To Bali, amid a row over his alleged colonialist leadership, the dim Duke is reported to be devastated. As usual, in times of trouble for her hapless husband, Meghan has maintained a wall of silence. Why is that? Discuss.
According to reports, the shift began quietly but gained speed with shocking force. At first, Meghan brushed off the chatter as just another tabloid cycle, but insiders claim that the mounting noise surrounding the petitions hit her deepest fear, becoming irrelevant. Without Duchess of Sussex stamped next to her name, she's just Meghan Markle, a mid-level actress whose most famous role was in Suits. And that's the exact irony fueling public anger. She gave up the duties of royalty, yet allegedly used the titles to squeeze millions from Netflix, Spotify, and speaking engagements. Industry sources say that's what made the backlash stick. The hypocrisy was too obvious to ignore. The internet, once quick to defend her, now treated her as the villain of her own story. Memes mocked her as the Duchess of Drama, hashtags trended by the hour, and commentators across YouTube and Twitter amplified every whisper from Westminster.
Now, before we do discuss all of this, here is the promotional video for the second series of With Love, Meghan. You have been warned.
So comforting.
Very comforting.
Often what I want to make are things I want to share. This looks fantastic.
The pressure didn't stop online. Reports suggest the House of Lords petitions, while mostly symbolic, became a lightning rod for broader frustrations inside the monarchy. Palace insiders whispered that Meghan had crossed a line by adding HRH branding on products even after agreeing to stop. To many in royal circles, this wasn't just bad manners. It was an open defiance of the agreement that let her and Harry walk away in the first place. According to one insider, Prince William privately sees it as proof that Meghan cannot be trusted to respect boundaries. Word is, he has little interest in compromise when his time comes. And that looming reality is what makes this moment so dangerous for Meghan. Because every headline about petitions doesn't just hurt her ego, it hints at the day William makes it official. What makes this storm unique is how perception became stronger than fact. Reports confirm there is no binding vote in Parliament to erase Meghan's Duchess status. King Charles hasn't issued a royal decree. Yet in the digital age, optics matter more than legality. Millions online already believe Meghan's titles are as good as gone, and that belief shapes reality. Every brand deal, every Netflix negotiation, every headline she tries to generate now comes with a shadow. What happens when she's just Meghan Markle again?
Easy ways to show up lovingly.
That actually is giving me goosebumps. That is so lovely.
Do you know who doesn't like lobster?
Who?
My husband.
And you'll marry him? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't like lobster either, as I said in my monologue.
According to industry sources, even executives in Hollywood have begun asking the question privately. For Meghan, that's the nightmare scenario, being downgraded from global duchess to another reality TV level personality scrambling for relevance. And as insiders warn, the palace doesn't even need to lift a finger. Meghan's own contradictions and the public's hunger for her downfall are doing the work for them. Insiders claim the tension exploded when Meghan allegedly tried to keep using her HRH styling in subtle but profitable ways, even after the Sandringham Agreement stripped her of that privilege. Reports suggest branded notes, products, and even gift baskets carried the royal stamp, turning what was supposed to be a formal ban into a marketing gimmick. To those inside the palace, this wasn't a mistake. It was seen as deliberate provocation. And according to sources close to William, he was furious. Unlike King Charles, who favors patience and diplomacy, William has been painted as the enforcer. He sees Meghan's behavior not as family drama, but as a threat to the institution, and word is he's already preparing for the day he can officially cut the last ties binding her to the monarchy. The symbolism matters. The moment he takes the throne, insiders believe Meghan's titles could vanish with a single announcement. But what makes the story even more dramatic is how Meghan is reportedly handling the fallout behind closed doors. Sources say the constant swirl of petitions, hashtags, and headlines sends her into panic mode. Allegedly, she paces halls at night, fires off frantic phone calls, and demands that PR teams counter every negative story. Yet every attempt to fight back only deepens the problem. According to reports, her denials and staged appearances are feeding the very media machine she claims to hate. Instead of projecting calm, Meghan appears reactive, insecure, and desperate. And the tabloids seize on every misstep, packaging her responses into fresh headlines that paint her as spiraling. The more she resists, the more she looks cornered. And for a woman whose entire brand depends on control, that's devastating. Industry voices say the danger isn't just what's happening now, it's what comes next. Hollywood insiders allegedly admit they're hesitant to attach Meghan's name to future projects, fearing the Duchess branding could disappear at any moment. And that's where perception cuts deepest. If her titles go, so does the illusion of global stature. Without the Duchess veneer, Meghan risks being seen as just another Hollywood celebrity, no different from countless others chasing headlines. For someone who built her empire on royal prestige while condemning the crown, that collapse would be the ultimate humiliation. And here's the revelation that stings most. According to multiple reports, palace officials don't even need to speed up the process. Meghan's own contradictions, tearing down the monarchy while allegedly cashing in on its symbols, are unraveling her influence faster than any royal decree ever could. The closer William edges toward the throne, the louder the whispers become. Sources suggest he isn't merely annoyed with Meghan's behavior, he's determined to set an example. In his eyes, Meghan represents something bigger than family friction. She embodies the danger of exploiting royal prestige for personal gain while avoiding the responsibilities that come with it. According to palace insiders, William has already confided that once he wears the crown, the Sussex titles are on borrowed time. And unlike Charles, who is cautious and measured, William's leadership style is seen as decisive, even ruthless. Word is he sees stripping Meghan and Harry of their styling not just as punishment, but as a message to the world. The monarchy will not tolerate parasites feeding off its legacy. For Meghan, that looming reality is far more terrifying than any online petition. Meanwhile, reports say Meghan's image is falling apart in real time. Once hailed as a modern Diana, she is now mocked as a Duchess of Drama, a nickname that spreads across tabloids, gossip channels, and Twitter threads. Insiders allege she has become consumed by paranoia, convinced the monarchy is plotting her downfall at every turn. Yet, ironically, the royals don't need to lift a finger. Her own responses, from tearful interviews to carefully staged photo ops, are doing the damage for them. Instead of silencing the criticism, every move reinforces the perception that she's desperate to stay relevant. For the public, the Duchess, who once promised to rewrite royal rules, now looks like a cornered actress clinging to a role she's already lost. And that role is growing thinner by the day. What makes this peak so devastating is how Meghan's collapse is reportedly bleeding into her marriage. Sources claim Harry is torn between defending his wife's pride and accepting the reality that his family has reached its breaking point. Whispers of late-night arguments and frantic plans swirl, painting a picture of a couple cracking under the weight of their own contradictions. To many observers, Harry has gone from beloved prince to what some insiders describe as a man of no substance, dragged down by Meghan's endless battles. And here's the cruelest twist. While Meghan scrambles to hold on to titles that keep her brand afloat, the palace can simply wait. Time is their weapon. Every day that passes, every new headline about petitions and backlash brings William closer to the crown. And when that day arrives, Meghan may discover that the story she feared most, being stripped of her titles and her brand, isn't just gossip. It's her new reality. The fallout is already clear. According to reports, Meghan's name no longer carries the weight it once did in Hollywood boardrooms. Executives allegedly whisper about the title problem, unsure whether attaching her to projects is worth the risk of a looming royal erasure. Without the Duchess of Sussex branding, Meghan is just another former actress, and insiders say she knows it. That's why every rumor about petitions stings so deeply. Each headline is a reminder that her entire empire was built on borrowed prestige, and the crown can pull the rug out at any moment. To the public, it feels like poetic justice. The Duchess who once slammed the monarchy now finds herself trapped by it, unable to exist without the very institution she attacked. And that irony is fueling the story far more than politics ever could. Insiders claim the palace strategy is simple: silence. King Charles remains outwardly polite, showing no signs of open conflict, while William sharpens the axe behind the scenes. Word is that discussions in gilded rooms focus less on Meghan as a person and more on protecting the monarchy's image from reputational parasites. For the institution, this isn't personal, it's survival. Meghan has become a cautionary tale, proof of what happens when outsiders treat royal duty as a brand opportunity rather than a lifelong responsibility. And that lesson will live on long after the titles are stripped. For Meghan, though, the consequences are personal. Every deal, every headline, every carefully staged moment risks crumbling the instant she becomes plain Meghan Markle again. The Duchess persona may have made her famous, but without it, she risks being forgotten. That's the cruel paradox Meghan now faces. She can't walk away from the titles without losing everything, yet the harder she clings to them, the faster they seem to slip away. The monarchy doesn't need to destroy her. Her own contradictions are doing that job already. And as William edges closer to the throne, reports suggest the decisive strike may be inevitable. Whether it comes next year or a decade from now, Meghan's fear isn't just losing her Duchess status. It's losing the illusion that she ever mattered beyond it. Because in the eyes of the crown, the press, and even parts of the public, Meghan Markle has already been demoted. The title may remain on paper for now, but in perception, the arena she values most, she's already lost. And when perception hardens into reality, no PR team in Hollywood can spin her way back to power.